And obviously, since there's so many people in the room right now, everybody wants to kind of be active and get noticed on social media and with their content marketing. But because everybody is doing that, it's very difficult to break through the noise. Because everybody's doing it, how are you going to stick out? And there's some ways that people think it is a good way to stick out. Believe you me, I'm actually doing the opposite by doing what enough of the brands do. Just makes me bang my head against my phone, particularly on a Friday, as I will show you right now. Anyway, so yeah, I know some people like to tweet at conferences, some people just come in and here we go. Oh, it's a tweet fest for the next 48 hours, 24 hours. Anyway, I'm Colm Hanratty on Twitter, as also at Sixtwo as well. If you feel like come up with a point that's worthy of one of your tweets, you can tag me right there. Now, I'm from this town here. Does anybody recognise this place? I'll move on quickly because we've got 15 minutes. This is Drogheda. That is the River Boyne, and that is the Viaduct. It's the bridge that connects Drogheda and the north of Ireland. I don't know why, so Drogheda and Belfast. I'm a very, very proud father. This is my little boy Will in the bottom left here. He's got an awful lot more hair. I'm feeling like I've got an awful lot less hair since that photograph. And this is my little girl Isla on the right. She's 3, she wasn't that photograph, I just like that photograph. And he's 14 months walking around, same thing, I just like this photograph. Now, I like to travel. I used to travel all over the world with a website called hostelworld.com. And there I am making videos. I used to do an awful lot of video work. And I like to be social. There I am having a pint in Beggar's Bush. There I am at an electric picnic, not deliberately we're all wearing yellow. And there I am having a crap with my family. Now you're probably wondering why I'm telling you all this. Well, when you're using social media, you need to think human, don't think corporate. Facebook, the plan was never to have converting pixels of Facebook. It was brought about by these lads in Harvard, in college, that just to communicate with each other. And originally, hot or not, as we all know from the movie. And after that, it was just for students to communicate with each other, plain and simple. Likewise with Twitter, it blew up in April 2007 at a conference called South by Southwest over in the States. And I went from there. It was nothing about putting cats on, it was nothing about RT and follow to win this. It was just about communicating with each other, plain and simple. So when you're using these channels, think about that. You're just communicating with your audience. A lot of the time, your message is in the middle of two of this person's friends. So if you come out with a real blamed advertisement, it's going to stick out as an advertisement. You're not going to communicate to people in the way that they want to be communicated to. Also, I'm imagining I'm the only Colm Hanratty that has a little boy called Will and a little girl called Isla who's from Drogheda talking at this conference today, which means this content makes me break through the noise. Granted, it's just another social media talk, but I have this little bit of information that nobody else has, which makes me stick out from the crowd in one way, shape or form. Now, I worked at this company for almost 11 years, hostelworld.com. They sent me all around the world. It was great while it lasted. I don't miss it because now I've got my 2 little nippers jumping on my head. And then in 2013, I founded Sixtwo Digital. And what we do is we help businesses get more from their social media by being social. An awful lot of businesses who use social media, they're not social at all. They just fire out messages the whole time. Just ask people hello. All they do is just go, here's my special offer, and here's this, and here's that. Whereas if you were to put that into a real life situation, what people just do is they talk about themselves the whole time. And what do people do when you see somebody who talks about themselves the whole time? They're like, oh Christ, what a man, I'm here, I'll go to the bathroom. But look, when you're at a wedding, when you see somebody who talks about themselves the whole time, you just want to get away from them. So what we do is we help businesses by help them achieve their objectives, but by being social, at the end of the day, there's a business objective behind each and everything that we do. And we have a proven track record of genuine return on investment for businesses down to the last cent. And what we do is we use social media management, strategy development, campaign implementation, and all these other things, training, photography, video, etc., etc. And these are some of the brands that we work with. East Coast Bakehouse, you might be familiar with them now because of Dragons Den. Alison Cowser, the co-founder, she's one of the new Dragons. Drew's Slim, we did work from them, a few other businesses as you can see here, mainly business to consumer businesses, but we also work with some B2B clients also. Now, when it comes to social, now there's my little bit of sales and marketing at the Sales and Marketing Summit, and move on to a bit of some tips. When it comes to content and social media marketing, it can get very, very noisy out there because everybody is doing it, so you need to break through that noise. And there's different ways that you can break through that noise. Once you do break that noise, I'm not sure if you can see here, but this is a purple cow. It's not my analogy, it's Seth Godin's analogy he came up with. But you want to be the purple cow on Twitter, you want to be the purple cow on Instagram, you want to be the purple cow on Facebook. And here's some ways you can do that. First of all, being human helps break through the noise, as well as just displayed, albeit just to tell you about myself through social media, but here's how it works for your business or your brand. We run all the campaigns for Oktoberfest Dublin, which is taking place in September. Not because of it then, it's because it was done, that was actually back by the Germans back in the 19th century. But yeah, we run all the social media for them. This was a post that was shared before we came on board in July, before Oktoberfest 2014. And it's a lovely photograph, nice pint of big huge beer, nice depth of field, lovely photograph. It was liked 236 times, shared 49 times. Then this other, then we can see with this other post here, now this one's a little bit brand heavy, so it's not human, it's very, very corporate. We can see that this was liked 112 times and shared 38 times. This one here looks a little bit more like what people are going to see at Oktoberfest, but again, because it was down, it looks a little bit professional. I'm not saying that I don't take professional photography, but I'm taking more human photography. It was liked just short of 300 times and shared 70 times. Now, when the tent was erected down there at the IFSC, I'm driving down and I realise the tent is up, and I'm like, well, this is real now. Oktoberfest Dublin is taking place in Dublin. So I pull over Jury's there in the Customs House Key, and I pop over and take a photograph. You can see here, this is the grey IFSC. The IFSC is not the prettiest place in the world, let's be honest. Dublin sky, quite grey. The tent is what's called as a naked tent. It was liked over 800 times, and it was shared almost 100 times because it was real. This was clearly taken in Dublin, it was clearly taken with a point and shoot camera. It's a very, very flat photograph, but it was real. And that's why it drove almost 3 times the engagement than some of the stock photography did that had all this lovely glistening beer and depth of field, etc, etc, etc. And then the next day as well, we opened up and I just moved a little bit to the right and took a picture of the welcome sign. Again, this was clearly in Dublin. And that's how we broke through the noise with that content. That's how we reached more people. That's how we engaged with more people. And now every single year, when the tent goes up, year on year, it drives more and more engagement. So here we are in 2015, the exact same post came up with 1,500 over 100 likes. And then the exact same post had 1,700 likes. Funny enough though, my client, after this photograph came up, they rang me and said, Colm, did you take that photograph today? Because they thought I just used the exact same photograph as last year. They thought I was being lazy. And I was like, no, look at the sky. Trust me, I know it's from the same angle, but I actually have been doing what you're paying me to do. So this is how, year on year, you can see it's driving more and more engagement. You're being human, you are being real. Now this is the trap that you don't want to fall into though. One day, maybe back in February, before they introduced the algorithm, when it was still in chronological order, I launched Instagram on Friday morning, and this is what I was greeted with. So you can see there, oh yeah, it's Friday! Hey, happy Friday, as people love to do in social media. And that was at 10:06, and I was like, oh, do you know what? Okay, your brand is telling me it's at 10:06, that's Friday, fairly standard. But that's you don't want to be standard. But it was still fairly standard comments, fairly standard post, it's Friday. This was the first photograph that reached me in feed. But then as I went through my feed over and over again, 10:07, it's a happy Friday. And I go, well, I know it was a happy Friday because the person before you just told me that. 10:07, it's Friday with a few emojis. Woo, it's Friday, it's Friday. And I go, I know it's Friday because now it's the 3rd time you've told me this. So you're just blending in with all the other people. You are not becoming the purple cow, you're going far from it. Thank you. 10:07, happy Friday. 10:08, Friday. Then this person didn't even bother actually. What this person did was they stole, I imagine. They went to Google Images and they searched for Friday and they posted an image on Instagram that says Friday. So they probably don't have the rights to this. Maybe they do, I don't know. Anyway, they just said Friday, and then this was the one where at this stage I started banging my phone against my head because they didn't say Friday, they said Friday! I was like, oh, I'm going to go mad here. So when you actually say Friday on Instagram or social media or Twitter and everywhere else, you're not the purple cow. you're not breaking through the noise at all. You're just a nuisance, basically, depending on how many people you follow. But that's why when you do these things, you're not breaking through the noise. You are just the same as everybody else. But instead, that grey IFSC tent, nobody else could say that. That's how they broke through the noise of that piece of content. Now, there's a social network which everybody's using an awful lot at the moment, which is Snapchat. I'm not sure if anybody in here is using Snapchat. I think it is the most ridiculous thing in the world on many, many reasons. First of all, just because of the content, but secondly, because of the mechanics of the app. It cannot work for businesses. It's as simple as that. So I'm not going to go into it now. I don't have the time. But now, imagine you go, right, so here I am on Snapchat. You go, oh, there's Colm using one of the dog filters. Oh, bit of crack. Isn't that funny? And then all of a sudden, the next day you see, oh, there's Colm using the cat. Okay, yesterday it was kind of funny. And then here I am as this new flare which just popped up, and then I am doing this and that everybody likes, and then I'm the angel, and then I'm the copper, and you're like, oh my god, there's Colm again with one of these filters. You're just doing the same thing. So my analogy of Snapchat at the moment is, imagine you went into a stand-up comedy show, and there were 10 comics, and they all told the exact same joke one after another, but they all did it 10 days in a row. By the fourth day, you'd be the fourth comedian down and go, here's the exact same joke again, 4 days in a row. So these filters, you think, oh, we're being human and we're being funny and all the rest. Be human and be funny, but not with this. Any Egypt can just go like this and put on a filter and go, oh yeah, I'm having a bit of crack. You know, this morning I've wasted 10 seconds of my time looking at somebody, just the gospel truth, sing the Game of Thrones theme tune into the camera, and somebody got a video of their teddy bear falling asleep, pretending it was having a nap. I'm like, what? They didn't even have the time to sit around and do this sort of thing. Anyway, yeah, so be careful with Snapchat. You really need to break through that noise. Now, having something unique helps you break through that noise. This is 13th of October, Aer Lingus. They're the people who carry the Irish rugby team from Europe to the UK for the World Cup. Poor old Paul Colm busts his leg in the 12th. On the 13th, they post this picture. Stand Paul, thanks Paulie. And you know what, fair play. He was a great advocate for the country in many, many ways. Rugby, not Leinster, that's why we're in this room. But anyway, yes, this was liked over 6,490 times. And this was in October, this screenshot. Now, roll back the clock to the 22nd of May, the exact same year, when you would imagine that Aer Lingus had an awful lot less page likes. And this is, we see here, today Anne Salmon operated her last flight after 44 years of flying with us. Join us in wishing her the very best in her future. Thanks for everything, Anne. Now, they might have sponsored this, but no, in fact, they didn't sponsor this post because we would have had to sponsor the little tag there, so they didn't. This was liked over 6,900 times. Now, how many businesses do you think were saying, oh, well done, Paulie, this is great, Paulie, the day after he busts his leg? A lot of people were doing it. How many businesses in the world have an Anne Salmon who has worked with them for 44 years? I'll tell you who. One. Aer Lingus, and that's why it's drove more engagement than Paul O'Connell. Now, here's another reason. Does anybody know a hotel called Cabra Castle in Meath? Has anybody ever been there for a wedding? Anyway, it's very famous for a big, huge dog. A massive Irish wolfhound that come up to you about your waist. If anybody did, I was given this like, so I showed this slide to somebody before, and they were like, oh, the dog's dead? And I was like, yeah, sorry, the dog passed away. She didn't know, she was very familiar with it. Anyway, the dog passed away. Oscar was his name. It's the only hotel in the world that would have a big, huge Irish wolfhound called Oscar that was with him for God knows how many years. The dog got more likes than Paul O'Connell because it's the only place in the world to do it, and it was the only business on Facebook doing that particular day. That had 6,700 likes. So what makes it, that had 6,700 likes. So what makes your business unique? Is it the staff? Is it the location? Is it the product? Is it the service? How can you break through the noise? Now, publishing on LinkedIn helps you break through the noise. When you put something on Twitter, depending on what app you use or how you use Twitter, but you have an algorithm to beat because, anyway, you have an algorithm to beat. With Instagram now, you definitely have an algorithm to beat. Likewise with LinkedIn and the same with Facebook. But, and with email, you have to hope that somebody opens their email. When you publish something on LinkedIn as a post, you just automatically get a notification. You straight away get a notification there. Your contact has just published a post. So straight away you're breaking through the noise because you're getting your own little bit up the top right hand side here as opposed to into the feed. So use LinkedIn posts. Getting others to share your content helps you break through the noise. This is it's an old one now at this stage, but it works. This is a post I wrote about about indulging cafes in Ireland. So there's different cafes around the country. It was liked over 3,000 times in a very short space of time. That was well because the headline is nice and indulgent pissed off. I didn't write it, I have to say, but anyway. So what we did is we strategically chose different cafes in different places around the country to generate as many shares from their social following, be it Twitter, Facebook, etc. And of course, one of them was the Happy Pair, the happiest people in the whole wide world. If anybody follows them on Instagram, they are extreme. They should be called now the Happy Pair. They're not happy. But so they had 16,000. You put them in the post, tag them in it. It was retweeted 3 times. One of them by these guys, which meant an awful lot of traffic, and which meant an awful lot of Facebook likes, etc., etc. That's another way to break through the noise. But yeah, and then even the smaller places. This was a cafe in Laytown, very close to where we're from, that had 1,000 likes. It was shared over 11 times on that page. From a page with 1,000 likes, it's an awful lot because it made them feel special. Now, yes, if you need partners, can you feature them to piggyback off their audience? Now, search engine friendly content has to break through the noise. I won't go on too much about this, we all know. But yeah, so in this particular cafe, again, while one part of the strategy with it was to try and feature as many places as possible by having cafes around the country. The indulgent pit stop was for shareability also, but then we couldn't bank on that because that would only last a certain amount of time. In the meantime, it has to have some longevity. So Best Cafes in Ireland is there. Best Cafes was also in the copy. And now if you Google Best Cafes in Ireland, you will see there that it comes up in the first page of Google. Evergreen content helps you break through the noise. If anybody's not familiar with the term evergreen content, it's writing a piece of content that's going to be as relevant 10 years after the time you publish it, as opposed to the day you publish it. So if I was writing a piece about Wicklow, and I wrote a piece about cafes in Wicklow, it could be out of date in maybe a year's time if one of them closed down. If I wrote a piece in Wicklow about climbing to the Spink in Glendalough, the Spink in Glendalough is always going to be there, which means that content should be evergreen. Now, so if you, with videos that I used to make with Hostel World, as I said, if you go to YouTube now, and if you search for the word Amsterdam, if you search for the word Edinburgh, if you search for the word Bangkok, if you search for the word Sydney, you'll see that my good self pops up. Now the reason being, with all those videos, I strategically did what I tried not to as much as I can, didn't mention prices, try not to feature too many bars or restaurants because then it's going to be out of date. The canals in Amsterdam are always going to be there. The Grand Palace in Bangkok is always going to be there. The Koh San Road is always going to be there. Sydney Harbour Bridge is always going to be there. I focus more on that to make that content evergreen, which is why now 5 years after uploading that video to YouTube, it still ranks for the first search term. Now, so, to wrap it up, content marketing and social media marketing is among other things, but to break through the noise, it's about being human, it's about creating relationships, it's about personalising your business. And also, if you focus on these 3 points, you will break through that noise. And just to sum it up, with every single piece of content that you share, you want it to tick one, if not all 4 of these boxes. You want it to be engaging. The reason there's a question mark there is not because I was going to go back to it. I forgot what to put in. It's because questions are good for engagement. But don't go overkill on it. Like it's Friday, say, what are you doing your Friday? You know, let's make it a bit more kind of genuine. But if you make sure that your content is engaging, that it is inspiring, that it's entertaining, and that it's educational. Have it one, if not all 4 of these things. Folks, thank you very much.